Hey guys, welcome back to the July episode of Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the Detroit Tigers. We're in a bit of a dogfight here this year, which is not something we are used to. We are in second place come July 1st, 44 and 34, 3.5 games behind the Indians, just a game ahead of the Twins for third place in the AL Central. We're having a pretty good season. We're third in runs scored, fifth in runs against, although it's gotten better here over the last month or so. With some reinforcements on the way, Carter Daniels is a week away from his rehab assignment. On the negative, we lost Elijah Green for the year, so that one obviously is going to sting as he was having a pretty nice season for us. And we are relying heavy on young players. We have 5 rookies in our starting lineup. So we're just hoping for month-over-month improvement out of them. But it is time for, it's the July episodes. We're going to have international free agency, we're going to have the draft, and we're going to have the trade deadline. So we'll do what we normally do, which is the international free agents, and then we'll sim up to the draft. We'll do the draft, and then I will pause once I figure out what sorts of trades, if anything, we need to make. I'll make the deals, and then I'll come back on July 31st. So that's sort of how this episode is going to go, presumably. I mean, things could change, but that's how I assume it's going to go. And I don't normally mention this stuff in the videos, but I would, if you guys could drop this series a like, drop me a subscribe if you haven't already. I think most of you who watch this are probably already subscribed, but if you're new to the channel, welcome. Welcome. My name's Aaron, and I do sports stuff. So let's just get into this and see if we can make a run here in July. So let's take a look at international amateurs. Looks like you got 3 consensus top players: Alfredo Mendoza, Jonathan Ribinera, and Danny Molina, 2 pitchers and a right fielder. Mendoza looks okay, but again, he's only 15. 15-year-old who's 6'7", 200 pounds. Already throws 91 to 93. Jonathan Ribinera looks to be a little bit further along. Of course, he's 18, so that makes sense. And Danny Molina looks to be... OSA likes these guys generally more than we do, but... for me, I think it comes down to either Mendoza or Molina. We've got the money. We may as well spend it, and let's spend it on the young player and see if as a 15-year-old, he can turn into something. He's a righty. Ribinera's a lefty, so I think we may go this route. I think I like the lefty. Low leader, but high loyalty, high intelligence. So we're going to go with the 18-year-old. And we'll see if somebody offers him $5 million that he prefers, and if they do, we will go back to the drawing board, so to speak. So, all right. So we need to play up to the 11th, so we are going to just sim ahead a week here and see how this first week goes. We're 3.5 games out of first place. It's as we went 11-4, so we get... I had a scouting report on Carter Daniels, so you can see 3.5 star, 4 star. So it looks like his movement's a little bit better than we anticipated. His control's maybe not quite as good, but still, 96 to 98 with those 3 pitches. I think he's gonna fit great into our rotation. So we won 11-4, and I'm not gonna look at every box score, but I'm gonna look at this one because the game paused. So Lopez, it looks like he hits his 3rd home run of the year. Yep, Todd hits his 5th. Gomez hits his 11th. Jones doesn't make it through 5, but Galindo pitches 3 1/3 shutout innings to pick up the win. Oops, sorry. Let's sim up to the draft. 2.5 out, and it pauses again. Yeah, so this is what has been happening. International amateurs, we don't get to just sign whoever we want anymore. And, that's more realistic, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. knows a little bit about a lot of things. I like Xenon. I like the contact. So Phillies offered him 2.5, so we'll offer him 3.5. See if we can save a little bit of money. I usually just offer the full 5 and call it a day, but I want to see if we can save a little money. Hang on just a second, guys. I don't have my mouse pad, and it's gonna make my mouse loud, so I'm gonna go get that. Hang on. All right. Oh, yeah. Now, all right. Okay. So we won again, 6-1. So we are a game and a half out now. Jackson Jobe continues to push to not lose his starting job once Carter Daniels comes back, as he goes 5 1/3. Jordan Castro picks up his first major league home run, driving in 3. Cool. All right, let's keep going. So we've played 2 games so far this month, and we've picked up 2 games, so that works. Another win. Mid-season goals. Okay, so we signed Xenon. Cool. So we saved $1.5 million there. He's happy with our team record. He wants us to improve stolen bases. I don't care about that. I wanted us to re-sign Dominic Smith. Well, if you gave us more money, we would. He's unhappy with our progress, even though we made the World Series last year. Go pound sand, Mr. Owner. Let's re-sign our coaches. Top 100 prospect list. We don't have anybody listed there. Where do we stand? We're 3rd. So Spikes, Zarate, Collier, Castro, Bailey. So Castro, Collier, Spikes are all already up. So our minor league system will likely drop here over the next month or so. So we're tied for first place with the Cleveland Indians as we sweep the Chicago White Sox. So 4-game winning streak. So 12-0 victory here. Meyer, 5 RBIs. Lopez, 4 hits. 3 runs knocked in. Got that average up to 320. Ortega goes 4 for 4. Munoz pitches 5 shutout innings. And then this was a Hamro game. Yep, cool. All right. So good start to July here as we are now tied for first place. And another win, a 5-0 shutout. So I think Carter Daniels is going to get a rehab assignment. Things are going well right now, and I don't want to rush him as we pick up another shutout. Balog goes 8 shutout innings. Wow. We get home runs from Lopez and Collier. So Nicky Lopez getting the job done here, putting up over 1,000 OPS in 26 games so far. So that move seems to have injected a little bit of power into our lineup. Let's keep going. Still tied for first. Now with the Indians, only 2 games ahead of the Twins. Still tied for first. Ooh, 18-2 loss. That one stings. But then we come back and win. We lose to Oakland, so we're 51-36. I want to just see who started this one. Jackson Jobe. All right, so Jobe and Rees got lit up. That's fine. Who pitched here? Munoz. So another solid outing from Munoz. 6 shutout innings. He's 10-6. Castro hits a home run. So the kids are getting it done. At least the ones we've called up recently. Castro and Nelson Lopez. So that has worked out well. All right, so we are tied for first place. We're 3 games up on the Twins, 4 games up on the Royals. Very, very tough AL Central this year for sure. We now have the 2nd best offense and the 3rd best pitching staff. So I don't think we're going to have a ton to do at the... Sorry, I got to charge my phone here while we do this. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to have a ton to do at the trade deadline. I think we're going to run with what we have, but we'll see what's available on the trade block, and then we'll make a decision based off that. So Zarate, I'm bouncing around here. Zarate's hurt right now, but he seems to be pitching pretty well. All right. Yeah, our pitching staff has come along. Munoz, Hamro, Balog are all pitching well now. Hayden Jones has been up and down. Jobe has been up and down, and we'll get Carter Daniels in there shortly. So let's go to the draft. So we're picking 30th here, and they think we are going to take Billy Sadler, a really poor hitting outfielder. I hope he's not the best player available when it comes to be our pick. Let's see. All right, so a couple of 4-star bullpen pieces. Let's look at pitchers first. So So you got Mike Deem, who's a really solid bullpen arm. Goes to Virginia. 1-star, 4-star, probably be ready within the next year or two. He's a ground ball pitcher. Dave Nieto, same style of pitcher, maybe not quite as good, but he's an extreme ground ball pitcher. A couple of starters, a couple of 2.5-star starters, Crandall, Brooks, and Alvarez. They're all pretty average, and they're all, right out of college, so I don't know how much more development there is. Same with McLaughlin. Let's take a look at batters. A couple of decent bats. Do I take a first baseman with my first pick? I don't like doing that, and I think I did that last year, didn't I? Or am I thinking about my other playthrough? I don't know. It's hard for me to remember. Yeah, didn't we take Aguilar? No. I could have sworn we took a first baseman in the first round last year. I could be completely off here, and again, thinking about my Rockies playthrough, but who knows. Jeff Jones, decent contact, decent gap power. He's 21. I kind of like this guy just because he's 18, and has, he could develop into a really high contact, pretty good power type first baseman. Eddie Zayats, a little bit older, a little bit more developed, has a lot of power. He's a Ram, so he's got that going for him. I think it comes down to one of the two first basemen for me. I'm surprised I'm considering a first. I think I'm going to take Kurt Pearsall. The 18-year-old high school student, high contact, decent gap, decent home run power, good avoid Ks. And he's only 18. And he wants under slot. So anywhere we can go to save money is a good thing. So let's go back to pitchers. So neither of those bullpen arms are there. We could come back and go with a John Perea, who is just a little bit worse than those. And OSA really likes him. And we both have average scouting, so I think Perea might be the pick here. Again, below slot. Let's go to the third round. Back to hitters. Okay, so what do we have? What do we have left? Generally not much. Pat Matthews looks to be a decent defensive right fielder. Not going to hit for a lot of power, but that's a pretty good hitting profile. That's a potential leadoff type hitter, number 2 hitter. So we'll go after a Pat Matthews, who's also below slot. I like saving the money. There doesn't appear to be a ton left here. So let's go to all players and see if there are any pitchers that are actually hitters. Don't appear to be. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be. So let's do this. Let's go back to pitchers, and we'll start doing some of this stuff. Trying to find some individual pitch ratings. See if we can find some starting pitchers this way. So reliever with a knuckle curve. Oh, this is a little disappointing. Amari Sloan, no. Usually you can find a couple players who, may have, you might find someone who's got 5 pitches. You might find someone who's got 4 really, really good pitches. And, the only thing it's lacking maybe is his control. Like, I would take a shot at Sean Fant just because he's got 6 pitches and he's 18 years old, so you just don't know how someone like that will develop. So we'll take Sean Fant, and let's continue. So what round are we in? We're in the 6th round. Let's look at fielding ratings, and we'll see if we can find ourselves a decent catcher. Victor Carvajal, good ability, bad arm. He can't hit. He's 18. He doesn't have a position rating at catcher. Yeah, this is really disappointing. I thought there might be. I mean, I guess it's all random, but I was anticipating. I was anticipating being able to find, some decent, halfway decent. Not diamonds in the rough, but at this point you look for players who have particular attributes, whether it's speed or defense or catcher arm or whatever, and you draft based off that. So I think I'm going to take Greg Reynolds because he's very, very good defensively, and maybe he could be a backup middle infielder. His hitting stats weren't terrible. So if we go to outfield range, Chris Costa, yeah. I mean, he's only 1 star, but again, he's got some flexibility in his positions. Eddie Malone. I like Eddie Malone. He's 18 years old. His hitting is not very good, but again, very good speed, very good defensively. We might get something out of him. All right, so let's go back to batting potential and let's look at speed. Jose Guerra, he's already 22. But if you're going to do this, you want to try to find someone who's 18 so that there's still potential room for growth. Well, this guy's not bad. I mean, he's pretty good defensively already. Great speed. His bat, I don't think, is ever going to be anything to write home about. But, he could be something. All right, and I think we're going to call it there. So that's 10 rounds. We'll auto-complete the draft. So it wasn't a great draft. It wasn't a great draft at all. But no, it's true. We were without a third-round pick because we signed Munoz. So let's just give these guys what they're asking for. And everybody wanted less, which is good. So we were able to save some money there, which may help us long-term. All right. Any mail we need to take a look at? No, we signed Xenon. The Diamondbacks traded Carter Kieboom, who's now 31, to the Mariners. Nothing here we need to take a look at. Let's save real quick. So I'm probably going to leave Daniels in the minor leagues for, about 2 weeks. Let him get a couple of starts under his belt. Or, if somebody gets hurt, obviously that'll change. But for the time being, we'll leave him in AAA and let him get some work in. He made his first start, went 4 2/3, walked 6, struck out 7. It's fine. Let him get another start or two in and see how it goes. So, all right. Well, lineup-wise. And I don't want to run through all this. I'm not going to run through all the stats till the end of the month. But where do we need help? So right now we're running with an outfield of Castro, Ramos, and Rodriguez with Spikes as our designated hitter. Rodriguez has obviously just been absolutely insane this year offensively. He's been really bad defensively, though. Jordan Castro is playing a little bit out of position. I would almost rather... Todd's at 303, so I don't want to take him out of the lineup. Ideally what I want is for Rodriguez to be my designated hitter. And that's, that would be the perfect situation for me. Because I got players playing out of position everywhere. Ramos can play anywhere in the outfield, so I'm not really worried about that. Where is he? And Castro's learning left, so I think he'll be fine there as well. But right field / DH, I would like to change defensively. Bob Ortega's just a terrible outfielder. He's always going to be a terrible outfielder. Right now, he's not hitting enough, but I would love to just get through this year with him and then send him down. Same with Chris Miller. He's not hitting. So if I could just get through this year and get him back down to the minor leagues next year and let these two guys develop, Josh Collins still with no ratings at catcher. His offensive ratings are getting better, though. So I don't know that we need anything on the offensive side. Maybe we can find a really solid backup defensive outfielder. But again, if we do that, now we're talking about sending one of these guys down, which I don't I'm not sending them down, but sending them back to their other team, and I really don't want to do that. If there's somebody that I can't pass up, then maybe we'll make a run there. But I think it's the bullpen. I think if we're going to make a move, it's going to be in the bullpen. One of these guys is going to move back to the bullpen once we get Carter Daniels in the rotation. But a setup man. Eater and Takelet have been fine, but is there another bullpen piece? Yeah, there are a lot of pitchers on the trade block right now. So I think I'm going to spend some time trying to improve the bullpen here over the next month, over the next 2 weeks. So when we come back, it will be the 31st, and we'll go over the deals that we've made. And yeah, hopefully July will continue to be a solid month for us, and we can end this episode on a positive note. So guys, I will be back in just a sec. All right, guys, we're back. It is July 31st. We are one game up in the AL Central. We are 60-43. And we made 2 moves to shore up our pitching staff. Technically 3 if you count Carter Daniels. You can see he's made 2 starts, 2 very good starts. His first game back, he went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 1 unearned run, struck out 6. And then in his second start against his former team, Minnesota Twins, he went the distance. Gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, walked 1, struck out 9, picked up the loss. But so far, so good are the return on Carter Daniels. We are 1 game up. It was a pretty good run. If you look at our schedule here, the draft was here. You can see we had a 2-game losing streak right before the All-Star game, but then after the All-Star game, we won 6 out of 7. We've lost 3 of our last 4, which is a bit discouraging, but we are still 1 game up in the AL Central. We'll take a look at the 2 deals we made. So the first one was sort of the big one, I guess. We traded Alvarado, Danny Gutierrez, Eddie Davis, Victor Juarez, and Danny Vasquez to the Cardinals, getting Hayden Dirk. So Alvarado, I moved him to offset some of the contract. He was making 2.25 this year and 2.25 next. He was fine this year. I mean, a 4.06 ERA and 35 games. He was fine, but he was in the back of the bullpen, and he was getting paid for this year and next, so I got that money off the books. Eddie Davis was the big one, the number 92 prospect in baseball, but he was blocked, and I just didn't have a home for him, honestly. I just didn't have any place to put him. He was hitting pretty well down in AAA. 10 home runs, 268 average, 2.3 WAR, and he's done pretty well for St. Louis so far, you can see. But yeah, we didn't have a spot to play him. He blocked at third base, and he wasn't a very good hitter against lefties, which is what we needed. Victor Juarez, we picked up in the offseason, and he was pretty bad this year. 2-1 with a 5.59 ERA, negative .4 WAR, to the point where we sent him down to AAA midway through the month. So we just moved on from him, cutting bait before things get worse. We also sent Danny Gutierrez, who's a half-star, 2-star, 20-year-old who's in rookie ball right now. Pretty good defensively, good speed. So a lottery ticket, if you will. And then Danny Vasquez, who has 4 good pitches, good stuff, but really bad movement, bad control, and he's only a half-star pitcher. So those are the 4 players we gave up. And in exchange, we get Hayden Dirk, who was St. Louis's closer this year, 23 saves with a 2.04 ERA, 58 strikeouts in 39 innings. He was a starter just last year. Went 12-10, put up 4 WAR, but for some reason St. Louis had him as a closer this year. His contract expires after this season, so he's likely a rental, but he moves into that setup role with Carpintero to give us a pretty solid 1-2 punch there. So I'm happy about that deal. And then the other trade, we traded Wally Forrest, an 18-year-old an 18-year-old reliever for Andre Scrub, which is just a terrible name, but Andre Scrub to the Cardinals as well. So actually 2 separate trades with the Cardinals. And I really didn't want to give up Forrest. I don't know that he's ever going to be great, but good stuff. He has 5 potentially good pitches, average control, significantly below average movement, and he's a ground ball pitcher. I tried to make this work without giving up Forrest, but we have enough depth that I felt like we could sacrifice it. And then we pick up Andre Scrub with St. Louis eating his contract, which was 3.9 for this season with a team option for next year. So we can bring him back if we want to, but I don't know if I'm going to want to. Ground ball pitcher, great movement, 3 good pitches. I mean, he has gotten hit pretty hard in so far in 5 games, 12 hits. So that's not good. So I think ultimately when the season's over, his numbers are going to look really bad because of those 2 games. But he gives us some additional depth in the bullpen. Our bullpen now shapes up like this, or our pitching rotation is Munoz, Hamro, Balog, Hayden Jones, and Carter Daniels. Carpintero is our closer with Takelet and Dirk as our setup men. Eater, Sproat, and Scrub is our middle relievers. Adam Hill is our long reliever, and Jackson Jobe is our emergency starting pitcher. He's pitched in 2 games as a reliever so far. 3 innings of 1-hit baseball, striking out 6. So he's been pretty good in the pen for us. So I guess since we're here, let's just start with our pitching staff. So Carson Hamro is only 8-8, but good for 2.5 WAR so far. He's been fine. I mean, I think he's walking a few too many batters. Home runs at 1 per 9 is fine. I mean, that's about what we would have expected. Would like to see the control be a little bit better if he can get it back down to his season last year. And I mean, his numbers aren't that far off, really. Slightly more home runs, slightly more walks, slightly fewer Ks. BABIP is about the same. His ERA plus is actually better. So he's been fine. His record doesn't really indicate how well he's been pitching. Hayden Dirk. Hang on just a sec. All right, sorry. Hayden Dirk. We just picked him up. So, nothing to really show for there. Although he's had a really good season. Victor Munoz he's been great for us. I mean, it's only 1.7 WAR, which is a bit weird. But only 95 hits, 141 strikeouts, and 116 innings, sub-4 ERA. Opponents are only hitting 219. Our top 3 pitchers, Hamro, Munoz, and Balog, have been terrific. They all have sub-4 ERAs, and obviously you'd like them to be even lower than that, but they've gotten better as the year has gone on. So I'm perfectly content with what we're getting out of them, even if their records aren't, fantastic. Takelet's been good. In his second full season, much better than last year. I think we overused him last year, but 49 strikeouts in 33 innings. Opponents are only hitting 168 against him. His control continues to improve. Once that gets up to a 71, I mean, he's going to be an absolutely dominant bullpen arm. Hopefully we can keep him around. Jackson Jobe has been fine as our number 5. Again, he's going to be a swing man now. Hayden Jones has gotten better, got that ERA down under 4. Just giving up too many hits. 131 hits in 121 innings. His home runs are a tad high at 1.3, but his walks are fine. He's not really striking anybody out. Carpintero has been good as our closer. Not great, but good. Talked about Daniels. Adam Hill continues to do his thing for us. Scrub hasn't been good. Sproat and Eater are both... Sproat has put up a good ERA. His WAR is a little off, which is strange. And then Eater... actually, we're going to switch this to normal usage because he hasn't been good. We wanted to go here, use more often. Our pitching staff, I think, looks pretty sharp now. We've got some real high-end talent at the back end of the bullpen, and then our starting rotation is just lights out. Offensively, Julio Rodriguez just continues to mash, already at 5 WAR on the season, on pace for 46 home runs, 116 RBIs, and 8 WAR. Still playing pretty poorly defensively, although it's gotten better as the year has gone on. He's still not playing all that well defensively. Helio Ramos is second in WAR on the team. Most of that is defensively, though. I mean, look at his zone rating in all 3 outfield positions. He's the best defensive outfielder in baseball. And we have him locked up for this year, and there's a player option for next year, so he may very well opt out of that. Which, I mean, ultimately would be okay because we have some young players who are working their way up. I would rather keep Ramos and move him, potentially. So we'll see what he does at the end of the season. Marcelo Myers had a good year, batting out of the leadoff spot, 2.7 WAR. He's still really bad defensively, which is just shocking when you look at his ratings. I don't quite understand it. Unfortunately, I don't know what any of this means. But yeah, I mean, his zone rating's really bad. His efficiency is really bad. It's just, I'm surprised, really, honestly, based on his ratings, that he's that bad defensively. Cam Collier's been, I mean, the bat's coming along. He's up to a 734 OPS. OPS plus is at 93. I mean, he was never going to be Yu Yi Lu. That we knew. And speaking of Lou, we'll look at him here in a second, but he's been Gold Glove caliber at third base, which makes up for it. In fact, let's look at Lou now and see how he's doing. So 312, 426, 591. He's on pace for 39 home runs. I mean, he's on pace for a standard Yu Yi Lu season. 8.5 WAR. So, I mean, we'll get about half the WAR out of Collier. We're going to get about 4 WAR out of Collier this year, roughly, for 5% of the cost. And, that's obviously it's a step down, but that's the way we need to look at things. We can't look at things in a 1-for-1 type of scenario because that's not fair. We're paying Cam Collier the league minimum, and he's going to give us half the WAR of somebody that we were going to pay $23 million for. So to me, that makes sense. So I'm fine with that. John Todd, again, fairly empty 302 average. I mean, although he's been better this year, 340 on base, 423 slugging, slightly above average with the bat. Average defensively. He's been average, been a little bit above average, but it's nice to have those high contact guys in front of someone like Rodriguez, who's just having a killer year. Gomez showing some power. And playing good defense. And that's what I wanted out of him. He may price himself out of the equation next year. We'll see. I think his ARB estimate was like $8 million or something. 6.8. That's manageable because I could talk him down to about 6.5. So that's a manageable number. I'm okay with that. Nelson Lopez has come on and done really, really nice work for us. In 40 games, 7 home runs, 28 RBIs, put up a 963 OPS. This is exactly what we needed. We needed some additional power that we weren't getting out of Green. Let's find Alex Green with Minnesota. Yeah, Green's only hitting 240 with Minnesota this year with a 677 OPS. So while there were a couple of you who weren't crazy about this deal, Daniels has looked good through 2 starts, and Green is continuing to not hit for Minnesota. So hopefully it continues that way, and we can look back on that trade and feel like it was a good decision. Josh Collins, again, still no defensive rating, and I don't know how to get him there. I mean, he's played 23 games at catcher this year. His zone rating is slightly below average. His catcher's ERA is really bad, so that's a potential problem. Assuming we make the postseason, it won't be a problem because he won't start. But I don't know that I can go into next year with a catcher with no positional rating. So just something we need to factor in. Chris Miller was really hot, I think, in July. Yeah, he hit 370 in July with a 963 OPS. So he's coming along. Right now, it's a bit of an empty batting line because he's only got 15 extra base hits. He, has only walked 9 times in 160 plate appearances. He's only struck out 13 though. So I mean, he's been above average. Caranto, he's given us what we need, which is backup, middle infield defense. Castro has been okay since getting called up for Elijah Green. He's up to a 59 out and left, so he's getting better defensively out in left field as well. If we lose Ramos in the offseason, Green will likely be our starting left fielder. Spikes has been a bit of a disappointment, frankly. I mean, he's on pace for 28 home runs, but he's only got a 750 OPS, striking out a metric ton. He's on pace to strike out almost 200 times. In fact, I think it might be time to shift this lineup around a bit and go with something like that. Go with Nelson batting fourth with Castro in the 5-hole. And then against lefties, we can probably leave Spikes. You can probably leave Spikes in the cleanup spot. Let's move Collier down the lineup a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I think things look pretty good. Again, we're not the same team we were last year. We do have the best offense in the American League. Again, we're fourth in runs against this season. I think some of that has to do with our catching situation. But I don't know what I can do about that. I don't want to... All three of my bench players are Rule 5 guys. So if any of those players, Josh Collins or Ortega or Miller, if I bring in a backup catcher, I have to send Collins down and I lose him. If I bring in a backup outfielder, I have to send down Ortega and I lose him. Miller makes the most sense because I've got Lopez, but it's really hard to give up on somebody who's 100 contact, 100 gap power. I mean, what could we get if we offered him up? I am recording, right? Yes. What can we get if we offer him up? Yeah, a lot of that is just not worth it. So I feel like I'm going to hold tight offensively just because I don't want to. Next year, we're going to have more flexibility because Ortega, Miller, and Collins can all go to the minor leagues without any issues. And we can look to potentially. I mean, it might not be a bad move to have someone like Ortega as our starting left fielder and then bring in a somebody who can just come in as a defensive outfielder in the 7th inning of every single game, and then Ortega doesn't have to play the final 3 innings of every game. I mean, we have that person in Ramos, but Ramos is a starter, and he will likely opt out. I would, frankly. I mean, he's on pace for 4.5 WAR this year. He had put up 3 WAR for us last season. At $13 million, that's a bargain. So I would opt out. I don't know if he's going to, but I would. So, all right. So pipeline. Let's look at our pipeline. Yeah, I don't think what do we got for upcoming? Ooh, we got Shea Langelier, who I know again. I would love to bring in someone like Langelier, and just stick him in the. Will he take a minor league deal? He will. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to offer him $500,000. And I'm going to stick him in the minor leagues until roster expansion. And then I'm going to call him up. And then Collins just isn't going to play at all. We'll have Langelier as our backup catcher for the rest of the season, which I'm totally fine with. And, I mean, he's young enough and good enough defensively that if we have to move on from someone like Gomez, we can. So that's a good move there. All right, so let's look at our pipeline. Spikes is up. Zarate is back from injury, it looks like. It doesn't look like that changeup's ever going to develop, but we will call him up next season. He will be on the team in some form or fashion, probably in the bullpen, since he's only got the 2 pitches, but that's for next year. Justin Bailey, is he back from injury yet? He is. He's been in high A ball this year, isn't really pitching all that well. We'll let him stay there. He'll start next season in Double A as a 22-year-old. A couple of years away, but that'll be useful when some of our other pitchers are starting to get expensive. Roger Castro, still in the international complex. This will be his last year down there. I don't know if he's ever going to amount to anything. Coliano actually got better. He's up to a 3.5-star catcher now. The positional rating still isn't great. He's passable. His ability and his arm are passable. He's a couple years away as well, but right around the time we will need him. Desmond is hitting the ball. I mean, he's in AAA now, and he's hitting the ball in AAA. I don't really. I mean, we don't have a home for him, obviously, with Marcelo Meyer as our starting shortstop, but Meyer isn't fielding, and I mean, neither really is Desmond at short. So I don't know. I mean, these ratings suggest that they should both be better. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Sylvie is still in rookie ball. He was our first round pick last year, or 2 years ago, I guess, 2027. He's not really hitting either, but he's still young. He's 20. This is his third year in AAA or in rookie ball, so we'll call him up next season whether he wants to or not. We need the development, or we need to see if he can develop. And that's really it. Vickery was our second round pick, I think. He was our first round pick last year, and yeah, he's hitting pretty well down in rookie ball right now. In fact, let's go ahead and call him up to A-ball. Let's call him up to A-ball. Make sure that his promotion is disabled. We can handle it on our own. And I think that's it from a prospect perspective. Yeah, we get down into, Lopez is already up, and then Aguilar is a ways away. Oh, wow, his ratings are really good. He should be in high A ball at this point. Let's disable. Yeah, I mean, he's never going to, he's a DH, but I mean, those ratings are really solid. He could be a really, really good number 2 hitter with that contact, that gap power, and that eye. Cool. All right, well, that's nice to see. And I think that's about it. Yeah. So we are 60-43. We are right up against the trade deadline. And that's going to about do it for this episode. So when we come back, it'll be September 1st. I will sim through August offline. We will do roster call-ups. We'll play that last month, and then we will get into the postseason. And I was asked to play through some of the more important games in the postseason. So assuming we make the postseason, I will start playing those games. I haven't had a lot of success playing games in my playthroughs here, but I will give it a whirl, and hopefully we can have some more success. Last year we made the World Series, so we came so close to winning it all. Hopefully this year is the year as our young players continue to get better. I'm excited about where the franchise is going. Even if we win this year, I'll probably keep going, just because I want to see some of these young players, see how they work out. Elijah Green is sort of that guy that I've sort of fixated on at this point, because he was our first major draft pick. He and Marcelo Meyer are kind of my two guys, and I'm sort of hooked on them at this point, as they were our first 2 draft picks, and they are a big part of where we currently are. So, but that's, still in the future. We haven't gotten there yet. So as always, guys, leave me a like, drop a subscribe if you haven't already. And that'll do it. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the support, as we're up over 230 subscribers now. So thank you for that. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.